Both of the McLaren drivers lack the killer instinct, and that's why, despite having the fastest car on the grid by a mile, it is possible that neither Lando nor Oscar will become the drivers' champion in the 2025 Formula One season. And the proof that they do not have the killer instinct can be found in the Japanese Grand Prix qualifying session. For those who don't know, Max Verstappen got pole position with a mega lap. This lap was right up there with his Monaco 2023 qualifying lap. And both of the McLaren drivers were slotted in behind him in P2. Lando was P2 and Oscar was P3. After qualifying got finished, Max Verstappen said to Lando that he was about to crash 5 times in that lap. He was driving the car on a knife's edge, and he took the car to such an extreme unstable position that he felt, despite being the best driver of all time, that he was gonna crash the car 5 times. On the other hand, in the post-qualifying interview, Lando and Oscar were asked why they did not push the car as much as they could have, and both of the drivers said that, well, if we pushed the car, we lost time instead of gaining one. If we push the car becomes unstable, and because of that, we lost more time and it was not even worth it. The car is currently in a good operating window, blah, blah, blah. They say some technical bullshit. The entire conclusion of the statements from Max Verstappen and both of the McLaren drivers is that both of the McLaren drivers are pussies. When you drive a Formula One car at its extreme, it's going to become unstable. It doesn't matter if it's a Red Bull or a McLaren or a Mercedes for that matter. It doesn't even matter if it's a Formula One car. Like any road car, if you drive it at an extreme, it'll become unstable. Any machinery, when you are operating it and you're operating it at an edge, it will become unstable. It's the job of the pilot or the driver to tame the machine in that unstable state so that you can extract the maximum performance out of it. And Max Verstappen did that with his Red Bull. He was willing to go that extra bit far ahead, and he was willing to risk crashing to take the car to that unstable state. I mean, the Red Bull car is already unstable as it is. He was still willing to take it one step further to extract that additional performance. And these two McLaren drivers, pussies basically, they're like, the car is in a good operating window, so pushing it is counterproductive. Now, if we talk about the race, the Japanese Grand Prix, the entire race was ass. Nothing was happening. There was one overtake. Lewis Hamilton overtook Hazard. That was the only overtake in the entire race. The race was boring, but let's talk about McLaren, right? Absolutely abysmal performance. When you have two cars to Red Bull's one, when you know that the degradation is low, when you know that the surface temperature is low and there is grip, you could have taken turns into pushing Max Verstappen to use up his tires, tried some alternate strategy, left one car out in the open, let that car get some free air, put in some good lap times, try to undercut him, try to overcut him, do something different. But these motherfuckers, they were just trailing behind Max for the entirety of 53 laps and brought home P2 and P3. Obviously, because they have good performance, they are going to win the Constructors' Champion. I mean, McLaren are going to win the Constructors' title this year, second year in a row, great achievement. But their drivers, being the pussies that they are, and their team strategists, being the bitches that they are, neither of the McLaren drivers will probably become world champion. And the only thing that is in McLaren's advantage right now is Red Bull's lack of performance. If Red Bull gives Max a semi-competitive car, he's gonna smoke both of them. Another thing, I am a lot disappointed about Oscar Piastri from that race because he started the race P3. He was already trailing behind Lando and Max in the championship standings, thanks to his bad luck in Australia. So of all of the people, and he was gonna finish the race in P3 anyway because Charles Leclerc was way behind him. Leclerc was not a threat, and he was close to Lando. At least try to overtake Lando for P2. Try to force the team to put you on an alternate strategy. And this lack of killer instinct that I said at the beginning of this video is going to cost both of the McLaren drivers the championship. And also an interesting thing, there was an interview with The Guardian where Lando Norris says that you don't need to have the killer instinct to win Formula One World Championship. He literally said that. One final thing I want to say before I end this video is that the 2025 Formula One Championship will be won on qualifying day. As we are coming to a conclusion of the ground effect era, the developments of the car have converged and the teams have found some loopholes to make sure the car behind gets more dirty air. At the beginning of the ground effect era, the regulation change was aimed at promoting more closer following so that the car behind can keep up with the car forward to make racing more entertaining. However, as the years have progressed, teams have found ways around it to make sure that the car behind will continue to get turbulent air. And Red Bull have actually devised some innovative rear brake ducts. Sam Collins claimed that they are aerodynamic components, and I believe him a little bit. And these rear ducts may be contributing a little bit more towards the turbulent air behind. The point that I'm making here is 2025 Formula One Championship will primarily be won on qualifying day. Now, if Max Verstappen gets a semi-competitive car, he's going to drive the wheels off of it. He will take it to the unstable state and in order to find that extra bit of lap time, extra bit of performance, something that this bitch-ass McLaren drivers are not capable of doing because they lack the killer instinct. And Lando Norris says you don't need the killer instinct to win the championship. If Max gets a car on qualifying day, Saturday that is, and puts it on pole, I don't think any of the McLaren drivers are going to be able to overtake him. And also, I don't think the McLaren strategists will try anything alternate because their goal, because they are also pussies, their objective is to bring both of the cars home as higher up as possible, cumulatively score as much points as possible to secure the constructors. That's their priority because they're bitches. They don't want to take the fight. They don't want to entertain us, the fans, with some fancy wheel-to-wheel racing. They don't want to put their drivers on aggressive strategy and, push them to go ahead and achieve their dream of becoming a champion. They don't want to do any of that. They just want to protect the positions that their driver started in and collaboratively score the most points of any other team on the grid to secure the constructors. So if Red Bull actually gives Max a semi-competitive car and a great car on qualifying day, and he puts that thing on pole, or at least on the front row, this championship is sealed. It would really be amazing to see Max Verstappen winning his 5th World Championship in a row, and also his 2nd World Championship with a non-dominant car. Let's see what Zach Brown has to say after that towards the end of the season. Thank you for watching, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.